ADHD Simplified. ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, which roughly affects 1 out of 10 children. And if you were in any class in your life, chances are high that there were people in that class that actually had ADHD, and maybe you were one of those people. And now, a simplified way to look at ADHD is through an example. Let's say you sit down and you want to study for an exam, and then in the next hour, you end up just watching YouTube videos on how submarines or tanks or nukes work. And if that sounds relatable, this is not because of laziness. There are things going on inside of your head that might actually help explain it all. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, ADHD does not affect people equally. Some people are hyperactive or fidgeting, and then others tend to get really distracted and just end up zoning out. And some people can actually have both of these conditions. And to better understand this, we need to know what happens inside of our heads. And in our heads, we have this chemical called dopamine. And you can consider dopamine as a notification system, and dopamine lets your brain know that certain stimuli need attention. Now, for the brain with ADHD, the system is a little less active. And as a result, the brain cannot really focus on a specific task, but instead will tend to follow whatever seems more interesting currently. And also behind our forehead, there is the prefrontal cortex. And then this part of the brain is responsible for managing everything in your life from planning to self-control and paying attention. And the prefrontal cortex with people with ADHD will develop a little later in life than it does in others, and it still develops, it's just a slightly later process. And this is important because ADHD is not, by some popular myths, is not caused by, having too much sugar or too much screen time or not going out enough. It's pretty much all genetic. It's passed down from one generation to another, and you cannot really control whether you get ADHD or you don't. And it should be said also that people with ADHD are not broken. A significant number of those who have ADHD actually can hyperfocus. And hyperfocusing means you can really focus on something for a long period of time. And if they are interested in something, they get so deeply absorbed in what they're doing that hours will fly by and they're still focusing on that one thing that they're doing. And that probably will sound really familiar to some people and maybe to you watching the video. So yes, if you've always found concentrating difficult, chances are it is simply the way your brain is wired, and scientists learn more about ADHD every year. And that's all there is to ADHD. I made it as simple as possible. So if your mind wandered a little during this video, then you might know the reason why. Thank you for watching.